You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello everyone and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host Stephen White. With me as always is my co-host Lacey Finley.
Oh, happy Monday.
If I seem unenergetic, I'm sorry. I just, I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Meh.
I think maybe it's cold out.
Yeah.
It's a blah kind of time.
And
You're even getting cold, yeah?
Oh yeah, no, it's cold down here. Luckily we kind of skirted that winter storm that came through.
Lucky.
Because I heard about all the snow that was coming our way, and then by the time it reached us, it was like, all right, we're going to kind of be rain, but we're not quite rain, but we're a little icy, but we are.
Sure.
So right there in that middle of rain and
Ice
slush.
is no good either, though.
No, but it wasn't as bad as it almost sounded like. I think it was the day before.
You didn't get 3 feet like the East Coast did.
Oh, yeah.
And some southern states, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the entire country got blanketed at some point last week.
Yeah, it was like a very, very tiny, like what we got now. I think up north or even kind of northwest, it was a little bit
more.
Yeah. Like the only ice I saw when I got up Friday morning was on my steps, you know, because that's always fun, slipping on ice on a staircase, and you're just like, oh God, because you don't want to go tumbling down it.
And then your back hurts the rest of the day because you didn't realize how much of your entire body you tense up trying to not fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was the only ice I personally encountered, but I don't know. I know there were other people. There was actually a schmuck at work driving a tractor trailer who thought it would be a wise idea to try to make a U-turn in a very small spot with the ice. And
well, I mean, might have gone in a circle.
well, he blocked the entrance for quite some time, so no one could get in or
yeah.
out. So that was good of him.
Yeah, that was
do
very
so.
kind and considerate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's most people, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's going to inconvenience them, they're not about it. Like, how many times have you seen someone slam on their brakes to make a turn because they weren't paying attention instead of just taking the L? Instead, they'll hold everyone up so they can try to hurry up and make, because that's my favorite way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just humans. They don't care about anyone else around them. If it halts traffic, but I had to go that way. Instead of turning around like the nice thing would have been, like, oopsie daisy, I missed my turn. But instead, it's everyone else's problem now, too.
Yeah, that tracks.
It's just humans. They suck. But not our siblings.
No, not our siblings. In fact, if we're going to talk about
We don't
siblings,
do those things.
that was a nice little segue. Dave, you sweet, sweet soul, you, because he was the only one to sit there and say, glad to know you're feeling better, y'all are doing well.
Yes, some
welcoming
people
us
might have
back.
skipped it, and that's well within their right.
It's fine. Hey, look,
30 minutes of non-gaming.
It was a conversation I needed. This podcast is about as close to therapy as I can get sometimes, to vent my frustrations
There you go.
about things.
Yeah.
And there's things that I don't even talk to you people about on air, like Lacey
Right.
is that off air and vice versa. So,
Right.
we don't say everything, but sometimes I want to hear from all of you, and that's why I'm kind of
Right.
throwing it out there. So, Dave, you sweet, sweet man, you.
Right. And
he just-
encouraging my self-improvement.
Yes, and all that mess. Not that I was looking for it. I'm just saying, but
It's nice to hear.
yeah, it's
always
nice to hear from
Yeah.
everybody. And I know I don't do the best on social media either. But
Oh, I suck at it.
I
Yeah,
try
the worst.
to respond when I see a tweet or something of that nature. If I feel like my words are going to add something to the conversation. Or
Sure.
something like that. Otherwise, I just don't, who the hell cares what I got to say?
Right. I read things and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I move on.
Mm-hmm.
never really thought that a stranger was vying for my respect or my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's
Rarely.
why I'm the worst at social media.
Hmm.
I should have at some point trained my brain to think the entire world cares about my thoughts all day long.
Right. So I got one thing that I want to kind of I wasn't going to talk about this, but thinking about it, I'm just like, yeah, I think it's nagging at me a little bit.
Okay.
Because obvious reasons, but at the same time, it's not. I'm trying not to let it nag at me because there's no point in getting upset about it or being disappointed about it. And then, of course, I've got my own criticisms and critiques and things like that about how I would approach something. But hey, what does it matter? Yesterday, or the day before, a couple of days ago, that's what I'm going to say, a couple of days ago, I had an online audition for I'm assuming a short film. Mm-hmm. If it's not, then that's even better. But anyway, they approached me about a role and said, hey, would you be interested in auditioning? I'm like, sure, yeah. I mean, I'm not actively seeking it out, but someone sought me out. I was like, yeah.
We'll see what you got. What's on the table, yeah.
So, in all actuality, the audition lasted 5 minutes. That, to me, doesn't... now, granted, I don't know about you. I've never really done auditions.
I've sat in on a lot of auditions. It really just depends. That could track for some auditions to be done, yeah.
Okay, well, this is about 5 minutes, and it was just, like, over, and I was like, I don't really feel like I did anything. But, okay.
Then you auditioned properly.
Okay.
That's usually the audition. You go in, you see a bunch of people that look like you do the exact same thing, you leave feeling completely unfulfilled and all of the things that you think that you should have been able to do while you were in the room, and then that's the state of being you live in for like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. So...
So you did it right. Congratulations. If you felt dread and all of the things you should have done differently, then you've done it right.
Okay. Because I have never done that, and it just seemed very, very quick, and that to me equaled, okay, well, they automatically found something wrong with it, so they're not impressed. I did one scene twice and another scene once, and it just felt like I got one note, and it was on the first scene. That's why we did a second time. I was like, okay, so let me take that into consideration. And maybe I didn't channel it properly, or maybe I was looking at how I would be this way, and maybe that doesn't translate to the way they want it. And even the last scene, there was the director had said something like, not quite how I envisioned it. I'm like, okay, well, then you're the fucking director. You tell me how you see this and let me do it that way, okay? It's your vision. You direct.
Oh, yeah, but you got to understand they're seeing so many people, too. They're not trying to make everyone excellent. They're just mostly seeing what you bring to the table. And if you get a note, that's usually good. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could have changed, but that's usually good. Like they saw something, and now we're going to see how well he adjusts on the fly.
Yeah.
So even that note you get may not even be what they were wanting for. They're just, how does he take a note?
Mm-hmm.
How easy would he be to work with on set? You know?
Fair enough. Yeah, it was odd, because even when I heard the not how I quite envisioned it, I was like, okay.
I mean, that was rude to say.
And
like, it should have just been thank you, and they discuss those things when you're not there anymore.
Yeah, but it's like in the back of my head, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, I could do it more intense, or I could go as mellow as, hell and make this guy out to seem like a serial killer, Because there's 2 levels... numerous levels, matter of fact, that you could kind of notch that down to or notch it up. And I thought kind of middle of the road was kind of nice, and figured that way, less intense, more intense. Try it again. But I got nothing. So as far as I'm concerned, they're probably going to be like, yeah, we're going to go with someone else. It's fair enough.
Oh, you probably won't even hear.
Or, yeah, that too, because that's tracks better than most.
I mean, in their defense, depending on how many people they saw... Like, when I was sitting in on auditions for, like, TV, film, stuff, like, they saw too many people. There's no way they're going to backtrack to everyone. As nice as it would be, you pretty much just know if by the callback date you didn't hear, you're probably done. That's it. You'll hear. But I don't know what circles they're running in here for this, but that all tracks as normal.
Well, I would at least like feedback from people, and I understand it could be a little overwhelming. Just even a simple thank you for your time or something like that, or we're going in a different direction.
Well, thank you for your time would be nice, yeah. But don't expect feedback. They're not there to train you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't want that. I just, in the audition, it would have been nice to understand where you were going, because all you did was give me sides and nothing more. I don't even know what kind of person this character was. In fact, at the end, I asked them. It was just, they said, do you have any questions? I was like, yeah, so is this character supposed to be like such and such actor from this movie? And they're like, oh, yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, okay. So I had it figured out, but I didn't want to play it like that because I didn't know if that's what you wanted.
Right.
So maybe I should have asked ahead of time.
Yeah, usually they should maybe ask you ahead of time if you have any, and then that's your moment to go ahead and ask any questions. But all of it sounds very normal. Really, everything you've said is just like that. We're always going to complain about those things, which is why auditions suck, because they can't give you a full script. It's probably under wraps, so they can only provide you the sides that are there. If you're fortunate enough to be auditioning for something that's already been going, perfect, because you can go back and watch like TV shows and stuff and get a feel for the show and all that stuff. But unfortunately, that's just how it is, and you've got to deal with it, and it sucks. And this is why I hate auditions and pretty much why I don't do it anymore. Nothing about the process is fair. All of it sucks. They're not kind about it. You don't get any information, and it's expensive AF.
Yeah.
To get into, Yeah, it sucks. The whole thing sucks. So everything you said is normal, and it's still very, very fucking frustrating.
That's fair. Okay. I just, I was curious because
Sucks.
it was, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because,
and it's harder, I think, in this day and age where we're constantly wanting to do everything over Zoom or videos or self-taping and stuff. Gosh, it'll be at least a little better when we can get back in the room in front of people, looking at their faces. Some of it has, but it's just a very unnatural way to even audition and like this, trying to talk to someone via video screen. And I don't know. It's all very weird. I feel bad for active actors that were trying to continuously get work the last couple of years, because you've had to do everything.
Yeah.
You had to be your sound person, your video person, your editor, it sucks.
Yeah.
You're not trained for all that.
Well, in any case.
But break a leg.
Yeah, nah, I probably won't. It'll be fine. It would just, I don't get those opportunities very often, and I thought, why not?
It's a good experience nonetheless.
Yeah.
Even though you feel like you've learned nothing, you really did, though.
Yeah, I suppose so. Something to put in my cap for a later date.
Right.
So, what you been playing?
Let's see. This week, I did jump back into some more not for broadcast. Might have heard me say last week. They dropped the whole game's out.
Mm-hmm.
It's fully released. We're no longer in early access. All of the content is there. So apparently there are about 14 different epilogues that this game could end up having at the end, which the first time I played it through and finished the entire content, that did come up. It told me which of the endings that I had received.
Mm-hmm.
I was racking my brain on how many different choices I legitimately could have taken to warrant 14 different ways this game could end up. So now I'm racking my brain trying to think of, and I think a lot of it might be the little side stories that you're kind of editing throughout the game that you're really not thinking a whole lot about, but it is a different story, and you kind of control the narrative on certain actors that maybe come into your news feed. Do you want him to look good or bad, or what did he get into afterwards, or things like that. But the main characters, I tell you, I'm not sure I know. I'm going to have to go back and see, but I have 3 playthroughs already set up ready to go for the last content, and I had set it up where I was 100% pro advance, which is the new government that got elected in. And then there was a pro disrupt, which is, the people who wanted to protest against this new government and try to blow it up or whatever, know. And then I had one that was neutral. So I was thinking having those 3 set up nice, neat, and perfect because achievements matched, that I had done it neutrally or, pro one or the other. How the hell there's 14 different ways that could end up from there? I'm very baffled. Very impressive. So I mean, of course I want to go back and see how I'm racking my brain on different ways I could have done it. And it's little nuances in how actors and stuff ended up being at the end because of the choices, the way you edited it or decided not to show or whatever. It was really interesting and a thorough branching out.
Yeah.
That even when I was playing the last sequence again on a different playthrough, completely new video because of the way I had edited and decided to show this person, way back when. Now I'm seeing the fruits of that labor as to whether they went on to be more successful or not, or what they're even into now. Very well done. It's just such a neat concept. Of course, I'm always going to sing its praises. Go get it. It was even on the sale for their lunar sale, which is cheap to me for all the content you get. And I had to replay the telethon, which was a bonus content they did a few years. Well, maybe it's not a few years back. Whenever the pandemic first hit.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were having troubles filming and trying to keep the game going, which is why it took a little bit longer to get to a fully released state because it's FMV. They had to do it safely. And it said I didn't have the achievement for playing that. And I was like, well, that's bull. I played it a lot.
Yeah.
It was new content that they managed to be able to give to us. It really doesn't fit into the story itself. But it was just, here's some new content to play. And I think they changed it.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have reset my achievement. So when I saw that achievement hadn't popped, bull, I know I played it, and I know I played it a lot. So fine, I'll replay it again. I want to say there was a little dance number in there that I don't recall seeing from before. I need to go back and look and see if anyone can verify, because it's been so long now that did I just completely forget?
No, I know that feeling when something changes and be like, wait a minute, wait a second.
And now I'm not confident enough because it's been a bit since I bothered to play the telethon because I exhausted it when it was new and then moved on to the other stuff. So maybe that's why, and they reset it, because I know certain things they did kind of fine tune or readjust along the way. Maybe they did go back and film something like that for that bonus content. But yeah, so I have 3 of the endings, and I have no idea how I'm going to try to shape the other 11 that we can get. But and then, of course, I did go back and play some more RimWorld because I'm just, apparently, it's just how my life is now. I've got to keep tormenting these little pawns and keep making the stories. But I did finally install a new GPU, y'all.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to say anything about it because I thought I was going to have to return it, honestly. But Lace got the new AMD 6900 XT. First time I ventured into the AMD one. So I guess sort of NVIDIA 3090 territory. Slight differences between the two. I mean, NVIDIA's got, the lead on some things and vice versa. But for what I needed it for, or what I wanted it for, let's be real, this wasn't a need. Fired up some VR because I wanted to stress it.
Yeah.
So it had, some of the games that I've been playing or into lately, obviously my 1080 was pulling RimWorld and all that just fine. It's not graphics intensive. Ran like butter, smooth like butter. It was so amazing. Too bad I get winded after 4 songs now because I've been a lazy POS for 2 years. But it ran so well. First time Lace has ever had to deal with an anti-slag brace, y'all, and it's defeated her. So my computer's on its side right now because I cannot, for the life of me, figure out how to install it. So siblings, even Google, I must be too boomer for Google to put in correct keywords. I thought for sure I'd find some Zillennial on YouTube, right?
Sure.
To show me how to install it. They were all showing me how to make my own, and I didn't want to know how to make my own. I wanted to know how to use the one that came with it.
They'll probably answer you with some kind of smarmy, why don't
It's
you
like,
know?
See these instructions?
Uh-huh. Just pictures.
Okay? Yes. Those two pieces don't fit into each other. I tried. It's like this and like that. So unless I'm to unscrew that and put it into there, but none of it made sense where in the computer it would go. So I don't know. So it's just been sitting on its side now because I got frustrated and just wanted to play the computer. Because it needs the brace. It's a BV boy. It hangs a little bit. Never had one come with one before. I thought the 1080 was massive. Good God. These things are getting so out of control with how big they are. But anyway, so yeah, I got a nice fast GPU. I probably need to start looking for a new CPU and motherboard. And I just ran a bunch of VR because I wanted to stress it, and it worked really well.
That's good.
But now I have a dead ear on my right on the headset. I think I finally got the Oculus Rift dead headset issue.
Oh.
There's no sound coming out of the right ear. And when I looked it up, apparently a very common problem the Rift OG had. And it hadn't been used in a year, so I guess just sitting there, it decided to stop.
Sounds about right.
So that's obnoxious. I'm going to have to get a new headphones.
Yeah.
Or screw it. I may as well just get a new VR headset. Come October 2023, I think I'm losing a lot of functionality for not having Facebook, and I don't plan on re-getting a Facebook, so it'll just be a fancy paperweight come then.
Yeah. Because you got to be part of the metaverse to use everything.
Apparently other people aren't wanting part of the metaverse either.
Nobody.
I know, side topic. Did you see that? Like Facebook's
Oh, yeah. I'm so happy.
dropped. Yes, I hope it keeps going that way. Not saying any other social media is necessarily better, but I don't know why I have special disdain for Facebook.
Yeah. To hell with Facebook. Who cares?
Or Meta or whatever it is now. But what have you been playing before I sidetrack us?
I really didn't play much of anything this week. I did play a little No Man's Sky yesterday. I don't want to say this for certain, but I might be coming to an end of that journey. You know, the time
About caught up with all the content?
Well, I mean, I always feel like I've still got plenty to do. But oh man, something happened last night and it pissed me off. And it was glitchy stuff.
Oh,
you know, because
okay.
I had been playing on the PlayStation 5, you know, for the last 2-3 weeks or whatever, and then I bounced it back to the PlayStation 4 because Katrina wanted to play, and I was like, all right, cool.
Right.
So, trying to get her to my base planet that I've kind of set up, like, this is my home now. This is where I'm going to stay. This system, this planet, this is where everything's going to happen. Show up at my base as soon as it loads up, and everything's missing except all the floaty thing, like, so no walls, no ceilings, no floor panels. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So then I start bouncing back and forth, hoping it'll come back. Finally it does. I was like, all right, good. Everything's fine. Then one attempt back to the base, and suddenly there's a huge fucking mountain sitting in the middle of my base that just appeared out of nowhere. And I'm like, what is this? And I'm waiting for it to disappear. I'll leave and come back and leave and come back.
Someone carrying a magic bean and
and then
accidentally
I come back.
spawned a mountain.
It's still there. Mountain is not going anywhere. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. So I'm going to have to clean this up. So I'm going to have to literally just wipe all this shit away with my terrain. And now all the pretty panels that I had on the floor, creating my walkways, it's got dirt all over because of this shit. Because of I didn't flatten it deep enough, or I don't know. It was just like, God damn it.
Oh, you can't get it level.
So all this work that I've done, my pretty base,
Yeah, that would be devastating.
now looks like shit, all because of some stupid game glitch. And I hate it.
Damn.
'Cause I was really starting to, put some flair into it. I created, I half started this, and I thought, no, you know what? I'm going all the way. This is going to be my vault. So I created this long, gigantic building. It's got all my storage units in it from one end to the other. Each one is isolated and named for one particular thing, so I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for gas, I go over here. If I'm looking for metal, I'm looking here. If I'm looking for agriculture, here. Boom. That's how I'm going to have it set up. And then right behind me, everybody who works for me at my base. So it's all in one room, except for the plant guy because he's out in the, what do you call it? The atrium. I think that's what they call them.
Sure.
Where
Yeah.
you have all your plants and everything in the sun, and I've got a little glass.
Or like a greenhouse.
Yeah, greenhouse too. That thing.
Sure.
So it's looking nice. I've got plenty of power. I've got plenty of room. I've still got plenty of room to expand if I want to add stuff. I've got vehicles everywhere. I've got landing pads. It looks amazing. Then a glitch just has to come up and says
And
no
then a stupid mountain grew in the middle of it all.
for some bizarre reason. I'm not even sure I got it all cleaned up. But I was just so mad. I was like, I shouldn't have to clean this shit up. Why did this happen?
Frustrating.
You know?
That would be how I rage delete things.
So yeah, that didn't it pissed me off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Been trying to,
Understandably so.
but it's fine. It's fine. I really wish I could get a decent ship at the moment because, not to say that I don't have good ships, but I always find myself finding slightly better ones, and then I'll talk myself into getting it, and I'm like,
Getting it, spending the money.
yeah, because it has just like 1 or 2 extra slots, and it's still it's equal grade, and I'm just like, do I want this one? Kind of. I got the money for it. Is it worth
Well, why
it?
not? Yeah. If you finished most of the content, maybe now it's just time to collect all the things.
Well, I think what it's time for me personally, I mean, granted, there are still story missions that I need to follow through on, but I think I'm ready to go to a completely different galaxy because I notice all the galaxies that we're going to right now are yellow star planets, but then you have to install an engine to go to red star planets or green star planets or blue star planets. And I was like, okay. So then they kind of lock this galaxy away from you unless you have a very specific engine. Well, I've already got my, red star engine. So I'm thinking about traversing to a red star planet. Seeing what all the fuss is out there in this.
Why not?
You
got the galaxy at your disposal. You may as well go check it out.
Yeah, and that was the other glitch that I ran into last night because I had that thought, and I was like, I'm going right now. And then, boy, that was the longest warp I ever saw. It never finished.
Oh, did it get stuck?
Apparently so, because it was just, I'm just going through the warp. I'm like, any minute now, anytime. 3 minutes, and I was like, okay, I guess we're stuck here. So,
So where are you now?
I'm back at my
Did
base.
you have to stop it and reload
Yeah,
it?
no, that was about the time I came back. I was like, I guess I'm done with this because everything's just falling apart. I got mountains going here. I'm stuck in, here. So and I don't want to hate this game. I was sitting there loving it,
Right.
and now all of a sudden just.
It might have been some really silly error that we didn't realize with you going back and forth between the two that they may not have intended.
Maybe.
And you're just the lucky duck to have found it because you tried to go back and forth.
Perhaps.
I don't know. I'm trying to help you not hate them because I feel like it could have been an accident.
But we're so beyond these glitches at this point. Like, I keep losing content. Like, I'll set up, like, a mining spot, and they said, hey, if you put, like, this little mining device on this big mound, because sometimes you can find, like, these huge deposits of material, right? So I put this material scavenger on this mound, and I put the carbon in it for fuel, fired that baby up, and it's like, I'm going to come back, I'm going to collect that copper in a minute, because once it's done, then there'll be a selection of copper in here, right? And that's mine. I've got it mined, and this machine's helping me do it. Great. I come back, the thing's off, and there's no copper in it. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So what did I even do?
Right.
So
Where did it go?
Yeah, all this for nothing. So glitches.
I would have to walk away for a minute then, yes, if I'm seeing things like that.
I was doing so good, too. Had money and everything.
What now? Did you only notice it when you tried to go back to the PS4 version, or was that happening with the PS5 only, or your upgrade, or however it worked?
Hell, on the PlayStation 5, it worked like a charm. I was so happy to see it running faster and everything like that. And I was like, oh man, this is so great. But then I come back in here and it's like drag, glitchy,
Yeah.
and I just hate it.
Not that I know how to troubleshoot. I was just wondering if you had noticed that it had happened prior to trying to go backwards so you could play, with the misses, or
No,
if it was having that problem beforehand with the PS5 upgrade, or however it works with that game at this point.
well, see, that's the other part of it too, is I haven't technically upgraded my save file to a PlayStation 5 file because I was afraid that rolling it back. So I just downloaded the
Sure.
PlayStation 4 version of the game on my 5, and I run it through that because that's the only way
Okay.
I can do it. And it works. I mean,
Boo.
I don't know, visually, I'm sure it would look slightly better on the 5, but I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine.
No, I think it's fine that way as long as it's running fine. I was just trying to figure out why all of a sudden it was graphically screwing up your base and stuff.
Yeah. But it's no big deal.
All right, hello games. I know you're listening. What's going on?
Yeah. Come on now.
Help us figure it out.
All these
I don't know.
patchworks and whatnot. We need to fix this age-old game.
The mountain out of the way. Let's get it out of my base.
So you got some news for us? I know things
We
happened
do have
this week.
some news. Yes, maybe not a lot of news, but big news.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is game dev okay?
I don't know.
I feel that they're 2022 is turning out to be an interesting year so far
Oh,
already for game development. Between the NFT nonsense, which is kind of going back and forth, but man, all the acquisitions.
Yeah.
We're about to the point where we might have 3 major companies owning the whole thing, and we might be completely an indie podcast here soon. I don't know, folks. Let's see what's going on. But yes, this week up to bat was Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Sony decided to throw down about $3.6 billion to acquire Bungie. And honestly, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because with Bungie and Halo and Microsoft and what was it, Crash Bandicoot with Sony, and now it's a little funny to me now
Yeah.
that they're all kind of like that meme. They're all holding a gun to each other. What's going on,
Yeah.
man? What's going on? Are we going to stay cross-platform or I'm going to kill this? So I don't know. Here we are. They've made this acquisition after the deal closes. Bungie is saying that they will remain an independent subsidiary of Sony Interactive Entertainment run by a board of directors consisting of the current CEO and chairman, Pete Parsons, who's there now currently, and the rest of the studio's current management team is all supposed to stay on board, keep doing what they're doing, I guess, and just take Sony money is how they're trying to explain it right now. So all of this, of course, time will tell. But Sony is saying that Bungie will remain multi-platform. So those who are playing Destiny and things of that nature, you should be fine. You should be able to continue to play on what you're playing with your friends, however they're choosing to play the game now on whatever console or, machine, whatever
Sure.
machine they power it up on. Console, PC, whatever. And Parsons has gone on to say that Sony supported the studio's dual goals of making generation-spanning entertainment while staying creatively independent. So we'll see. A lot of good points were made that maybe Sony's finally starting to try to beef up their streaming game service since I guess a little behind on most of the other bigger companies as far as offering an online streaming service. They've had it. They've had but
Yeah.
hasn't really taken off. So that could help with that. Also, Take-Two announced that they bought Zynga this week too for about $12.7 billion. This is why I think we're all getting kind of, I don't know, man. $3.6 billion now seems kind of measly.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It does.
I mean, with the $12 billion for this, $13 billion for that, $69 billion for, so. But we supposedly learned they've got about $10 billion that's still burning a hole in their pocket as they're searching for more acquisitions. So this just might be the year of acquisitions.
Yeah, but
I don't know. It's just starting to feel that way.
I guess there was a time you have brand loyalty, and I guess for the most part we all kind
There
of have.
still is, I think.
we have
I
that.
still see them complaining on each other's tweets for whatever reason.
Right, but
the fan people.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, I mean, there is something about having some good, healthy competition in a market.
Oh, absolutely.
But at some point, don't eat up all the games either. You know, I want to be excited for a game that we can all play. And sure, I can get multiple, but I don't want to. We all don't want to.
Not everybody's got that kind of disposable income to own. If you can find the consoles even to have all of the consoles.
But even, I honestly feel like even if I did, say I had like all the money in the world to spare, there's a point where I'm just not sure I want to bounce back and forth between this console and that console and all this other shit. I mean, I could change my mind if I was a billionaire. I don't know.
Sure,
but
right.
Right now, just
if we had billionaire problems,
look at me and my billions. I'm gonna go out and I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, I just
I snorted.
I don't know. I don't want everything to be gated behind. Well, you can only play this on Xbox, and you can only play this on Steam. You know, if everything can kind of get to the rest of us, there's okay having exclusives. But
sure,
I don't know, open the door. The exclusives are what bring me to it. Now, if you're all third party or something like that, then let's all play together, you know?
Sure. And I think we're starting to see that a little bit, especially now that you're seeing Sony open up the door for their games going to PC. With Jim Ryan even saying there's plans for more. So I think we are starting to see that that there is value in branching out to the other side and maybe some sort of partnership. But from a financial perspective, I understand why you'd want to gatekeep because you want to sell your units.
But
whether the consumer likes that or not, I totally get. But I understand why, even though I hate it.
Well, I would look at it like this. I've always heard that games decrease in value. I mean, that's apparent anytime you see, you know, sales going on platforms or it's just like...
Which is why you see so many, I think, games as a service, live service models happening now.
Because, you know, if I can wait around and buy a game, you know, big budget, whatever, that was $60 to $100 when it came out, and then you're telling me if I just wait, you know, when I have nothing else to play and then it's like $5. Yeah, I think I'll get $5. I mean, Christ, how many times have I seen that with Mortal Kombat? All the money I've spent on it, and then, you know, you could probably get it like the entire thing now.
Wait a few months.
$10. And it was like, oh, shit. Yeah. You know, I spent all this damn money.
How do you think I felt? I bought Cyberpunk day one. It's been selling for $5 for I don't know how long now. Not on PC, but, you know, still.
They still, like...
I saw that, and I'm like, damn.
I still want to play that game just out of curiosity, but then to hear... I mean, they're not even doing anything.
I don't know. The Hubs played it on PS5, and it still crashed once in a while, but it ran.
But it's not a PlayStation 5 version, is it?
No. Yeah. I think that one's actually coming.
Are you sure? Because it feels like it's been a year or more.
Oh, it has been. Yeah. Definitely. Been over a year. But I had seen the murmurings of the upgrade coming. Well, so
as long as if it fixes the game to where it's, you know, very playable, then sure, I'm in. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that,
sure.
Did you?
They better.
I don't know if you had this in your news. So forgive me if I take
about CD Projekt Red.
No, I was going to talk about Dying Light 2 and some of the review.
I have it as a quickie.
Yeah.
I have it as a quickie.
Well, I figure we'll talk about it right here, unless you've got something else to say about. Is it about the glitches
for Cyberpunk? Oh no! This was about CD Projekt Red.
Okay, well, I'm talking about Dying Light 2. There was apparently like reviews coming out said the game is great, but the caveat is that there are a lot of bugs.
There are technical glitches.
And
yes.
Why are we doing this?
And especially as long as it took,
yes.
I feel that this must have just been one of those cursed projects from the get-go for whatever reason. Not saying anybody did anything wrong, but they waited so long, and it just came out, February 4th?
Yeah.
I think is when it dropped. I don't know. That was what I was going to ask the siblings. Have you been playing it? Was it worth the wait? Are you at least enjoying it? How bad are the glitches? Is it taking you out of it?
Mm-hmm. Like, honestly,
I can forgive a good amount, but I maybe I shouldn't, but I can because I can just get lost in the storyline, and as long as that's fine. But if it's crashing, then yeah, you're taking me 100% out of your world.
I mean, genuinely, when a crash happens, that's about the time I'm like, all right, I'm done. Like, I'm gonna set it down. I might come back if shit continues to happen. I'm like, all right, I'm done playing this. There was a game breaking bug. The only one I really remember that always frustrated me. It was in Ultimate Spider-Man, I think is what it was, on the GameCube. And anytime I got to this one part of the game, it was like immediately crash. It was, every time.
You can only keep trying so long if it's not going to allow you to advance. What more can you do?
And what was funny is at the time, I wasn't very familiar with game-breaking bugs like that. So I thought I had a bad disc. Went and replaced it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this keeps locking up on me. It's defective. And they're like, all right, cool. Luckily, I was able to trade it in, get a new one. Shit happened right again. And I was like, all right, well, I guess it's just this game.
They burned a bad copy. Yeah.
So whatever it may be. But yeah, I was disappointed to hear that because even the reviews that I was reading, a lot of the stuff in it, like even the multiplayer, there was like, it's solid,
Yeah.
And I'm not one to get excited about multiplayer, but it's that small group multiplayer, which I like. So I know that I'll have friends who will want to play this, and I would like to play it with friends, and knowing that our stories can progress together is nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've seen people saying that they're still having a lot of fun with it. And of course, it's just very unfortunate that these technical glitches were happening. I haven't seen any complaints, at least about the story or the controls or how it plays. So yeah, it was very disappointing to see those reviews, though, because I know they tried so hard and kept even pushing it off to try to avoid something like that because there was. So I don't know. I don't want to say give it more time because we did. So I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I was, like you said, as long as it took, that's what's disappointing about this overall. If this was something they rushed out 2 years after the fact, and then they were just like, yeah, we're trying to do this bigger game and everything, and we botched it. Yeah, because you didn't take your time. You've had plenty of time.
Sure.
But I guess it's never enough, right?
And I mean, who knows what challenges they faced with, this whole last year. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I know.
It's very much a shame that it did have to come out that way. But I don't know. Siblings, have you been playing it? What do you think? Yeah. Is it bad enough to take you out of it? Is it, I don't know, case dependent? Maybe if you're playing it on this versus that, you've not had as many issues. Just curious. Just curious. Because I wanted it to be an amazing opening because of how much they struggled to try to get that game out the door. But what I want and what we get are two different things.
Right.
We finally got a confirmation on the longest awaiting rumor that everyone knew was coming, but we kept getting messed with, I feel, back and forth for so long. GTA 6. They finally, straight from Rockstar Games. Yes, we're working on this. So now, of course, the rumor mill for sure will start speculating what this one could even be about. Of course, this was announced in a blog post giving you an update on your GTA 5 for next gen, or this gen, however we're saying it now. It's been out a year. This generation of consoles. So if you're a GTA 5 player, you'll just keep on playing that same PS3 game all the way on up. We're just it's the Skyrim. It's just like, we'll keep porting it for you, so you'll be fine. But with this port, apparently will come some new content. So if you are a avid GTA 5 player, you will get some new things to come along with it, which is always exciting, right? Cool. If you're in love with the game. Looks like new story missions. I don't know. What do you think? You think we'll finally get a piece of crap girl protagonist instead of always just a piece of crap guy protagonist?
I feel like whatever they do in this, they're going to try to be progressive in their own way, but
How do you satire life anymore? That's what I'm curious.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, how do you, when it's this weird already?
But I think the problem is going to be they're going to try to be super woke, super amazing about how they're doing like their story, and they're going to do something in the narrative is going to piss off a slew of people. It's going to be like this.
I feel that's a given.
Yeah, but it's going to be like this. Either this female character, because I'm going to say with 100% certainty the lead will be a female. I'm saying that right now.
Or at least a lead. We may not just have one, as they've shown us in the past.
And that
yes.
might be how they skirt a line, but no pun intended. But hear me out. Woman protagonist, she will either be written marvelously and shit on by, I'm not playing no girl. Oh, screw you making me play a woman who's tough and can fight back. I don't like strong women.
Could be just as garbage as men.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't want to do it as a woman. I want to do it as a man.
Yeah.
Or she will be so poorly written and offensive that...
And super hot.
Yeah, and it's like,
all
how is
curves,
she...
huge, busty.
Yeah. It's like, bruh, how is she, like, supposed to be female empowerment? Look at what you've done to her. You've sexualized her.
Yeah, there's always going to be
Fuck you,
someone mad no matter
Rockstar.
what they do.
You don't know what it's like to be a woman, bruh.
Now you're probably seeing why it took them forever to commit to making it.
Yeah.
How do we navigate all these people and make this a funny nonsense time now because everything's too serious?
Yeah, I just want someone to bookmark this. David, you'll probably be the best one to do it.
Bookmark it. What do we got?
What I've said here.
What's the
so
date? February 7th.
So when the game comes out, we're gonna replay this tape. Because we have tapes. That's how we're recording this podcast.
We're rolling the tape.
Yeah, we're rolling the
baby.
tape. We're going to roll back the tape.
Get that pencil.
When the reviews start coming out and the internet hatred spews, we're going to play this tape back and then be like, see, what'd I say? What'd I say? And then all of you are going to owe me some money. We didn't bet on it, but I'm telling you now, all going to owe me money.
Well, I hope for your sake it all comes through and you're not actually eating crow that day we're rolling the tape. So I think they should, though. I think I've seen murmurings about people saying that it should be a woman or a non-sexualized, non-garbage woman. And you know what? Were any of the leads that were men upstanding citizens? So
No.
that argument was really weird to me. Oh, they'll just make her garbage and this. Well, I would hope so. None of the leads have been good people.
They try to do good things to a point, but they're still garbage.
Right. They're not good people. So let us have our chance to be a garbage protagonist too.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
What if they...
But it's official. We know it's underway. They're working on it when it comes out. I would imagine probably very long from now still.
I've got one even better. And this would probably piss people off just as much.
Sure.
Both sides, as a matter of fact. You could do it all in one stroke. One character, granted, multiple seems to be the way they're probably going to do it.
Maybe.
Because of GTA 5. But maybe not. Maybe they'll go back to something simpler.
Yeah.
But what if our main character is a trans character? So therefore, throughout the game,
you would
they
kind
go,
of hit every angle with that one, wouldn't you?
right. You could be a man, you could be a woman, but you're a trans character, so doesn't matter. Everything they do is so gender neutral.
Fluid, yeah. You know
Call
what?
they. Why not?
Why not?
But
I
it would
actually would almost be more on board with something like that.
Yeah, and don't even say which. Like, is it a woman becoming a man or a man
Or
becoming
they could
a
just
woman?
be non-binary the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that whole thing. There you go. Perfect.
Just non-binary, and you could, whatever you want to put in your own head and force on that character, by all means, do it.
But it would piss people off.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but you're right. It would. They would lose their minds. Why are you doing this woke stuff? This is the problem with it. Like,
trying to shove your agenda down my throat,
Right.
making me play GT. I just wanted to blow people up. I didn't want to be a non-binary character.
but
What's
you can
wrong
still
with you?
blow people up.
No, not with a non-binary character. It's got to be a man.
Oh dear, it's gamers. Come on, gamers
Come
with
on.
a Z.
Tell me I'm not. Tell me
No,
I'm not
that's
wrong.
definitely something that would happen. I mean, we've seen it already with smaller things. Just hanging like the LGBTQ flag in Spider-Man caused a huge issue. So imagine, you have a full character that's not. Yeah, that would be. But
Because, God forbid, someone actually do that in New York.
right, of all places.
Ugh.
Oh my
dare
gosh. Yeah, you're hilarious.
Woke people up.
But that's
Your
so telling
agendas.
on you. I read those and so I know what kind of person you are. And you felt it was cool to just announce it to the world that you were like that too. So cool, cool. Oh gosh, you know what? I almost want them to do it that way now, just so I can sit back and laugh. Like, you're gonna take away joy from a video game that you would have because of this one thing that for some reason you can't have your mind grapple with. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, time will tell. I think this game's going to be a couple more years, if not longer, before we see it. So, might have missed it very briefly. Sony had 2 state of plays for one for Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah, that's the one I was aware of, and I was like,
Ghostwire Tokyo was for the
Okay.
other one. So it wasn't, but we did get some more gameplay. And you know what? I might actually be about it. The combat looked pretty interesting. That was one I put a pin in
yeah.
because it looked good. The concept sounded cool, but I wanted to see more. I can't just jump on a game anymore because I think we've all been bitten too many times. Let's see what happens. But yeah, they showed some more actual gameplay and some longer trailers and stuff. So if you had it, go check it out. It might be selling me on the idea.
Okay. Yeah, I did see some videos on YouTube, and I was thinking, like, I guess I missed that it was a state of play.
I did
So
too
I
until
guess-
yesterday.
Yeah, but
It was a
I
dedicated thing, but
I did want to, because I remember the name, and I was like, oh yeah, didn't I think this was one of those that kind of caught my eye. But
Right.
like you said, maybe put a pin in it. It was like, maybe.
see what
maybe.
happens later on.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll go back and look at those videos to make sure that it's something
When I
up
was
my
finally
alley.
starting to see some gameplay and how the combat worked, that's when I think I'm going to be paying a little bit more attention. I'm going to be paying a little bit more attention to see if this is one I would definitely want to get on board with. But yeah, go check those out. They weren't very long. Couple 20 minutes. I mean, racing games these days always look amazing. I don't get into them, but the graphics, you have to admit, are just freaking phenomenal on these things. It legit looks like you're just watching a race, man. It's crazy to me how good it looks. But last little bit of news I have before we move on to some quick hits. Looks like Google Stadia might be finally laying its final rest as far as a gaming service. Or more specifically, Google, I guess I should say, is moving on, it would appear. It's trying to make the best of it, though, in spite of the lower player base, right? So while it struggled to keep up with next-gen console releases, I think the model might have just been a little too much for people to have a subscription and have to buy the game and not physically own anything. While fantastic for some things, now it looks like Google is going to just lean into that technology, which make I guess make the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah,
So rebranding is Google Stream, like I said, with leveraging these deals with tech in mind. So, but apparently even early on, Google and Bungie were in talks about using the Stadia tech to support a Bungie streaming service, probably, which I'm sure is now on a different path with it being acquired by Sony.
Sure.
But it seems like they're parsing out this technology now for other things, for other companies to use, and I try to make up for that, right? They didn't flat out say it's dead, but I think it's simple enough to just at this point maybe not. It was one of those vicious cycles, right? It never was getting new games.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would in turn not have a lot of player base. But when you didn't have a lot of player base, developers didn't want to take the time and effort into porting it for Stadia. So it just kind of became this vicious Sisyphus situation. So, but what were you going to say?
The fact that I have not paid $1 for the service, and I've had it for an accumulative amount of months.
You still have access to it and they haven't charged you?
Because every time I'm at that cusp of getting it, like where they're like, all right, we're going to charge you. I'm like, nah, cancel. And then they'll come back a couple of months later and be like, hey, you want to
try again?
You want to try? Maybe see if you can find something. I'm like, yeah, sure. Here's a month. And then do I play it? No.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, the last time that they did it, I think it just ended the other day. They offered me a month. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. Maybe reignite something.
Sure.
Maybe I'd want to play because there was still that one game that I talked so highly of that's going to be stuck on that platform.
Guilt, right?
Yeah, Guilt. And
I was thinking of that while I was reading this article. I hope they're porting to other things so the game doesn't die.
I really hope they do too. Yeah, because that game does not need to be trapped behind it. But anyway, I did that, and then I went to play it, and it was just like, your connection's not good enough. I'm like, bullshit.
Right, you've got fiber now, baby.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
I was like, yeah, but your connection's having issues. I'm like, well, you know what? If this is what's going to happen, then I'm not going to play you.
Right. And I can only speak for the States for sure, unless it might have gone up a little bit more over the last couple of years, but you're still looking at 16 megs. Up and down was the average for the USA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that gets better in other countries, that are gaming focused as well, as I've not really branched out into it. But yeah, so we have a service that at least wants 75 to run smooth.
Yeah.
And the average has less than. So the tech was amazing, but our concerns, I think, that we brought up when we first started hearing about Stadia have proven to be the case, unfortunately. And that was the hurdle I was hoping they'd figure out how to get over, but apparently not. So at this point in time, it is rebranding as Google Stream, trying to sell out that technology. So if you're a game dev team that wanted to have a streaming service, now it sounds like you could maybe buy all of that from Google Stream and then use it as your own. I don't know. Peloton got a game for it on their Peloton bikes. So if I don't know, I know one person who has a Peloton bike. Yes, they're rich. That's how these things work. But it's called Lane Break, so it's a musical rhythm bike game. So that makes sense. Keep you motivated while you exercise or something. And then Capcom looks like they want to use the tech for game demos, which would make sense if you want to just put it up. You got the ways, the time, the means to log on to that website and just play the demo. Would be fantastic. You don't have to download it or anything. You're curious. You've got the internet to support it. Go play the demo. So that's probably how you're going to be seeing this technology getting parsed out, even if you're even hearing about it. It might just be one of those things that continues on. It's on the back end and we won't hear it. So I don't know. It feels very bittersweet because the tech behind it really is cool and it was a great idea. And all of the fears that I had about it ended up being the case. So it's really sad.
Well, I mean, we've said it to death and we've spoken about it to death. And I haven't actually heard anything about Amazon's service, Luna. Like, it exists.
Honestly,
it's out there.
I feel you were the only person to really ever tell me about Luna. That was the only way I heard about it.
But their model made more sense to me than what Google was doing because they just said, we're going to offer up a slew of games, kind of like Game Pass. And it was like, here are the games you can play. Now, if you want to do the Ubisoft thing, we have that over here too if you want that. Otherwise, you can pay a flat fee. Here are the games you're going to get every month or every so often and play them or don't.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes sense.
Even
You're offering
GeForce Now.
Yeah. I don't have to buy anything At least I don't think that was the case. It was just like, here are your games.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
it was nice. The only thing that I didn't like, of course, I mean, I guess you would have done that with Stadia anyway, is having to buy the controller, and I didn't want to have to buy an Alexa controller, and it was just like...
I think if Stadia had made the games full price, maybe even, because if you were paying for the service, Game Pass makes sense. I pay you a month. I get access to those games. They're not mine. I get access to those games for however long it's on the service or however long I continue to pay, and that makes sense. And then if I want to buy the game and keep it on that service later on, fine, right?
Yeah.
And they'll even offer you a discount for having been a member already. But I think charging for the service and charging full price for the game, when in reality I had nothing leveraging that it was mine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you have Stadia, folks, and I'm misunderstanding how the whole thing really worked? But to my understanding, you were never downloading anything, and you were still paying full price for the game. And then if this service goes away, which it's seeming to do, where'd all that money go? Are you going to get any kind of compensation?
No.
I don't know how that would work. What if you spent several $1,000s on games on that service over the last couple of years? Is it just gone for you?
Yeah.
They probably wrote it in those little EULAs too that you're clicking through for that very reason. Who knows? Anyway.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Stadia, I guess. I don't know how long they're going to keep it up, because it didn't sound like it's gone, but I don't foresee much going forward from here on out.
I'm sure we'll get an email before it happens, because we're like, since you're a previous Google
you're in
Stadia
direct contact.
we're just going to let you know that we're not going to, don't tell anybody about this. And of course, as soon as the news hits an email, it's going all over.
Oh,
it's like, guys, look.
Yeah.
All over Twitter.
All over. We'll see it. Or you'll tell me.
Yeah.
Or siblings, you tell me if you were one of the ones who subscribed to the service, loved it, and maybe I just broke your heart. I don't know. I have a few quick hits, though.
All right, what you got?
Hazelight Studios, the dev team behind Game of the Year, It Takes Two, teamed up with DJ2 Entertainment to adapt It Takes Two for film and TV.
Woo!
I mean, having played the game, I think it could be cute. I just wonder what angle they'll take it. I think of more like a Pixar thing, but I don't know. So Joseph Ferris. Loved the game. Loved the whole thing. You've seen him. He seems like a lovely gentleman. Very excitable, into what he does. It's adorable. I love it. The passion. Has a lot of crazy characters. I could see this being entertaining. I mean, at this time I couldn't find a network or a studio per se that had signed on, hey, take my money. And let me be a part of it. Let me help you make this. But for some comfort for some people, DJ2 was also behind Sonic the Hedgehog films and the Tomb Raider anime series on Netflix. So if you like those things, we could probably trust him with this. Oh. And the game officially sold over 5 million units. So GG Hazelight.
Good job.
Boom. I love it. I love it. You can now link your PSN account with Discord.
Yeah, I did that.
If you were waiting, like they talked about it a long time ago, but now the feature officially rolled out. So if that's something you were waiting for, go do it. You can do it. I don't know. What did you get for doing it? What new functionality do you have?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It was just,
okay.
I didn't see anything change. It was just like, oh, okay.
Okay. Well, then there you go. Another thing to connect together.
Yeah.
I know this news isn't brand new, but the PSVR 2 might be accepting pre-orders soon. And take this with a grain of salt. It was just me poking around on their website, and at the bottom it asks if you'd like to sign up to get notified of pre-orders, release dates, games, yada yada, whatever Sony would want your email for. I still want to see the headset though. Dang it. I wonder when they're going to reveal it soon, because I'm on board with every other change they've made so far. In fact, the ones I was really hopeful they did. So I just want to see that headset, man. They better not have changed it too much, Because like I said, I still feel they had the most comfortable headset to date still, even if the concept itself that they put in with the eye was garbage. But the headset itself, to this day, I still feel was the most comfortable in light of any PC one I've ever tried.
Right. I'm eager to see it, but I don't know if I'm eager to buy it. You know? They're going to have to wow me right now. Because the other one's sitting over here collecting dust, and I hate it.
But like I said, they addressed the biggest issue that I had with it, and they got rid of the eye. So that's why I'm more hopeful for this one. It is the inside-out tracking, which, if you remember, if we could roll those tapes from years ago, what did I say they needed to do? I hoped they would utilize the inside-out tracking and get rid of that damn eye, because it was garbage for tracking. If you ever had to reach behind you for a gun or anything, it was just lost. I'd be grabbing at my gun forever. I'd have to try to turn towards the camera enough for it to register what I was trying to do. So with the PS5 Power, that's why I'm a little excited for it. I hate that it's still tethered. I don't know that I expected it to be wireless or not. But
why can't it be, you know?
I don't know.
I mean, maybe
smart enough on the tech end to know those things.
Follow me on this.
Okay.
Not to say this is going to happen, but this is going to be another one of those instances where you're going to have to roll back the tape.
Okay.
PlayStation 5 Pro. Super beefy PlayStation 5. Now, with wireless connectivity to your PSVR, which they will integrate into a new headset. Probably. So then you'll have the wired and the wireless. But the wireless only comes and is operational with the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Oh, man, I hope not.
Think about it. Tell me this is not marketing genius. Like,
that's something I totally believe it would do.
You know, I know you guys. You're okay with
just
5,
spent a lot of money on this one already, but
you could fork over an extra $100 for the PS5 Pro. Then you can buy the new PSVR 2, which is wireless. Come on, man. You can only play it on this thing here.
Or they'll sell you the adapter to make the current one. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
We're going to roll back the tapes in a couple of years, and that's what's going to happen.
We'll see. Do you think it'll be that long before they reveal it? I'm thinking by the end of the year.
No, I just meant this whole big thing that they're going to come out with, because like they'll do it wired for now. It's like, yeah, go ahead and put it out there. You know, get them all excited, and then when everyone's bought one, and be like, oh, look at this, it's wireless. You want this, don't you?
Or they hope people bought them instead of hanging out on eBay in somebody's warehouse.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Think about it. You might want to fix it, because if those units aren't actually going to players, you're never going to sell games on it, Sony.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm accusing them of it, but figure it out. Game delay wouldn't be a podcast without a game delay these days. Sure. So if you were excited for Suicide Squad from Rocksteady Games, you're going to have to just wait. Looks like it's getting pushed to 2023. At this time, so I have to wait a bit longer if you were excited for it, but I don't know.
There's plenty to play.
There really is. We're not at a lack of games. So this was what I thought maybe you were hitting at before with CD Projekt Red. They announced that they plan to develop 2 AAA titles in 2022. I thought we were still working on the last one. So they've been hiring quite a bit over the last year, and apparently have been getting more employee feedback and wanting to have more autonomy for them in making the decisions and initiatives. Said something Kaczynski. I don't think I've ever been able to say his name right, but you know who I'm talking about, dude. It's CD Projekt Red. So I don't know. I'm hoping that they learned their huge lesson and they did hire appropriately, and that they will continue to check in with the developers and go, hey, what do you think? Where are we at? What's it looking like? Because they're the ones who would know how far along the game is. They're making the damn thing. So I'm hoping that everything they just said is true and they are applying that moving forward. But again, I thought we were still working on the roadmap for Cyberpunk. But I don't know how many people they hired. Maybe they think they have enough people for 3 games technically to be in development at the same time. But I don't know. Let's wait and see. I'm just hoping they learn their lesson from Cyberpunk. And that...
What, are you kidding?
People can change. People can change. I'm trying to be hopeful. I don't know. It was a lot. Well, we'll see. He said now Cyberpunk taught them a lot, and that they will be making changes to perform better in the future. So let's wait and see. Let's give them a chance to actually fix their problems. People make mistakes. I think we've just got to see them put it into action. Hey, Hello Games did it, right? Hello Games did it.
All right.
I'm just saying, let's give them a chance to fix it, and if not, then yeah, screw you. Like, I want to. Oh, I punched the mic again. Sorry, people. If you heard her,
she's passionate.
I do get animated. People, if you ever saw me stream, that is how I talk. It was not put on for a show. That's how I've always been. So I punched it. But anyway, I hope it's true. Okay. I hope they took the notes. I hope they're listening to the developing team, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And if their next one turns out like crap, then we need to just get rid of all those higher up people too.
Yeah.
And start it all over. Because clearly you guys don't know how to do things. I think I need to take a drink here. Let's see. Last little quick hit here. Phil Spencer will get a Lifetime Achievement Award at the DICE Awards this month later on. I don't know. They haven't taken place yet. Supposedly on February 24th, 8 p.m. Pacific, to be specific.
Yeah, specific time.
But yeah, so if you want to tune in or just go to the Mandalay Bay Resort in Las Vegas, I don't know if they just let you drop on in. I don't know. But there you go. A Lifetime Achievement Award for Phil Spencer.
Good for him, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's done some good stuff. I got a truth or trash.
Ooh.
If I can remember to check it at the end of the year, like we totally forgot for the ones from last year. But it's just fun, right? It's just a fun little segment that we can do. So, you know, we always love to eavesdrop on those financial calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have, for the sake of the rumor, we have confirmation now. And you're going to tell me if this is true.
Okay.
That they did reiterate that the current gen Switch, we're making a new one. We've made Switch 2. The dev kits are already in circulation, Steven, and people are creating games for it, which will debut later this year. Steven, do you believe that the Switch 2 has already made it to dev kit point and out in people's hands, and we will be seeing it rumored later this year?
They just released a new model Switch.
Mm-hmm. For the OLED.
But you're saying that they are planning, according to
more
rumor,
power.
A new Switch.
Mm-hmm. Which should have 4K.
The thing that
natively,
they had
not
promised
upscaled.
Beforehand and then backed out of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it going to completely replace?
I think it'll. The way it reads to me, it will be the next generation for it, not necessarily just a Switch Pro, which is what I would have thought initially. Maybe moving on to a Pro, but Switch 2, and they've already had dev kits in developers' hands trying to create for it.
I mean, I could say that a lot of that's probably already true because that was kind of the plan for this last model that came out.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
But then, if they're planning on doing not just a 4K version, but a new Switch altogether...
I mean, they're going to have to keep up with the new consoles, right?
I feel like this is true, but whether or not it would happen this year is where I'm kind of faltering. So
All right, I'll even give you early 2023. So by 2022 end or early 2023.
But they do have all year, and they haven't been pushing
It is early.
anything. You know what? We'll say true.
True for 2022.
Yeah, because then they can they'll announce it this year to sell it in 2023.
And actually, the one that I had in mind to go along with this, I'm gonna make a calendar reminder for me now, because I will forget, because that's way too much time. I forget last week. Let's be real. To check in on and see if hopefully, you know what though? What am I doing? I need to have it remind me on the day we record, day of the week we record. So otherwise, I'll forget to check by then too. All right, check. My rumor or truth? I don't know. There we go. I've got it all set. So we will find out later this year if Lace was telling Steven the truth or a bunch of crap.
Yeah, because we never know.
It has been out 5 years. Can you believe it? For the Switch.
And this is about the time that Switch usually goes, okay, reset.
Time to do something.
Yeah.
Time to do
something.
something.
I'll at least give Sony and Microsoft credit for allowing their consoles to last longer than 5 years. Nintendo just seems like it's on a roll to just be like, well, we got it. It's 5 years. We got to go.
Well, maybe it's because they don't come out with the beefy. I don't know. I never really thought go to Nintendo for my big blockbuster, huge hit, major games that you would play. But, teach their own.
I mean, look, when their online service or whatever, I mean, they're ripping people off for that garbage. So, I mean, put your money to good use somewhere.
Right, until they start buying studios also.
Shit.
I mean, at this point, I think we're going to have about 3 major companies who own them all. I don't know. This is kind of nuts until the government, I guess, actually figures out these can be monopolies also, instead of just blaming violence on them.
I mean, they could have purchased Rare long ago. And look what they did. They let it slip through their fingers.
They did.
Slip through
and then it slipped through everyone's.
Yep.
Unfortunately. But that's all I got. So I don't know if you've got a nice, fun headliner for us today, or what you've got planned to take us out.
Genuinely, I don't really have anything. Not that I wasn't working on something, but you remember I said that I had COVID.
I do.
Turned back to work, and I was still playing catch up all this week, so I didn't have nothing to do until Friday, and then. That was about the day I was like, I don't want to do anything. I'm just like my brain is on, the fritz because I've been rushing to do and play catch up for 3 weeks.
I feel
so
that.
I didn't put together a headliner. I just figured, we could just because I'm sorry everybody that we talked about COVID last week. I noticed that nobody
it's probably one of those topics. I understand. I'm over it too. Like this whole freaking thing. I mean, I'm not proceeding my life as if it's over because I logically understand, but I'm over it,
Yeah. So, hey, I apologize. That's why I wanted to I tried to get into games as quick as possible. So, we weren't wasting your time. I know, I'm being salty. Like I said, I feel kind of like, today.
Yeah, don't be mad at him. Don't get angry.
I'm not.
Don't get angry at him.
Meh. It's just the mood I'm in.
Yeah, we all get cranky. It happens, and rightfully so.
Okay.
Hey, guys.
I talk about. Well, I mean, I could just something I didn't bring up that I forgot. They're just little things because I mentioned that Cosby documentary. Boy, oh boy.
Oh yeah.
I just want to touch on that real quick. If you've got Showtime and you can go watch that, it's 4 parts or about an hour apiece. If I'm gonna talk to you like Bill Cosby, I
don't know how I feel about any
No,
of it
now
anymore.
you give me a minute to tell all these wonderful siblings out there. Go watch this documentary about Bill Cosby. Yeah, if you don't have any connection to the person Bill Cosby, like he wasn't there with you growing up or something like that, it might not be a big deal. But listening to people, like, I don't have like a huge connection like some other people would, but
Right.
he was,
In the same way.
yeah, he was a perennial figure growing up for me. As someone who, you know, like, there was that funny show, the Cosby Show. It was like, that's that funny show that he's on, and oh my gosh, I love watching it. And it was constant, you know, whether it was watching brand new episodes or watching it on syndication, it was there.
Sure.
It was always a comfort, you know, for me, because I wanted to be there with the Huxtables. I wanted to be a part of their family because
Right.
it seemed so inviting.
It was fun. It was tomfoolery. It was, yeah.
And then
Wholesome.
And then growing up, you see, you know, you hear good things and you see them on the commercials and in shitty movies like Leonard Part 6, because, you know, that was a classic. And then you just think that this is a great guy, and you're just like, oh man,
As did everyone.
I'm glad he was such a part of my life and growing up and everything. And then that all just disappears. And what does that do? And can you separate art from the man? And all these questions that kind of come up with it. It was so nice to hear other people having this conversation.
Right, yeah.
But also hearing a lot of this stuff made it sink in so much deeper. And you're just like, God.
Yeah, it was rough.
Just made it worse in so many ways, like, you know, pouring alcohol on a wound. Because I'll be honest with you.
It's like you knew, but did you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, there was a guy in there, I can't remember, there was probably several, matter of fact, who said that when they initially heard the news, they were like, no way.
Right.
No way. And
I
yeah.
kind of understand why that could be a default. I mean.
But luckily, there's that moment where you have to be like, I can't be thinking like that. I can't do that because that's unfair to the person making the accusations. And I realized that I'd done that so many times.
But usually people don't put their feelings into consideration. That's always the issue with a lot of these situations, is for some reason it's just easier to default that the victim was a POS that put themselves in this situation. Why were they there? Why were they dressed like that? Why did you trust them? Instead of looking at the egregious behavior of the person taking advantage of the entire situation.
Yeah.
They're used to being the ones totally their own fault. It happened to them.
Yeah. And I honestly feel like if this didn't happen with anybody else, I'm at least glad for my own sake that that's where I've started to... This whole incident made me, like, prior to this, mind you, but this whole incident with him made me reconsider how I initially react. That no matter how decent or how good I think someone is, I can't immediately take sides, because sure, someone could be lying. You know, the person making the accusations.
Your friend may not be who you thought they were.
Exactly.
And I think that's where a lot of people have a hang up when it's like their friend, in theory, being accused, or, you know, this hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
A lot of people, no, I know that guy. He would never do that to you.
Yeah.
That's
And
a hard thing, or she, you know, to be fair here.
You're right. Like I said, I don't want to sit there and say that all women's stories are legit, no more than I want to say all men are creeps. Okay?
Right.
It's that blanket statement that I don't want to make. So if I hear the accusation, I'm willing to hear the accusation immediately, because you're the victim in this scenario. But if you make yourself uncredible, then, you know, that's the thing. But with a lot of these women, I have no doubt at this point. Yeah, there's not a soul among them lying. Why would they?
And that's the other thing too, is you got to think, if you were a woman in that position, why would you think he would?
Yeah, that's a lot of
You're probably very comfortable in the company, thinking you're safe. You can have a good time.
Yeah.
I would have probably been the furthest thing from my mind about what they would try to do, you know? Especially as high caliber of an individual.
And that's how he did it.
Yeah.
The power.
But, yeah, it was very,
it's disappointing, sad, but
it's just all around a horrible thing.
So to the victims, you know, I hate that it took.
I just hope they
this
find
long.
peace in
Yeah.
their own lives to be able to just move on for their own sake, so they can try to be as happy moving forward as they possibly can. I don't know how you would handle it.
I feel like they had some closure up until the time he got out of jail, so I could understand where that got frustrated. But anyway,
That still confuses me too. So I don't
did you
know.
watch? Did you watch it all?
I did. Well, I put it on in the background while I was working, so kind of listened to it as a podcast.
Okay. Well, they were talking about how pretty much he got out because of a technicality.
Right.
Like they found just the that one little thing. It's just like, oh yeah. Well, we can have all this thrown out because of that. And I was like, seriously, really?
Yeah.
But they do. They'll take it every step just to have a win.
I just feel like it's still a too overwhelming norm to assume she's fine, but we can't ruin his life over a small mistake. I hear that so often.
Yeah.
That's what's the most frustrating about hearing that, taking no mind into the fact she's already in her tortured state.
Mm-hmm.
Or the victim. Let's put it that way. I shouldn't just say he, she, or whatever anymore, but the victim already is traumatized for their life. But the attacker, we can't ruin their entire life over a moment of bad judgment.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, yeah.
It's that's been why it was always so disgusting for me to listen to all these things, because, you know, as soon as they try to make it their fault, the victim's fault. Well, I mean, it was only one thing they did. It just
doesn't matter.
They don't care. I don't know. I don't know why women have always been kind of viewed that way and treated that way, or why it became a normal thing. We've gotten better, but
because these men wanted to justify doing the things they do, and we're just like, well, it's your fault for making me do it. Look at you dressing.
It is
like
always
that.
kind of funny that men throughout history that have done this sort of thing have been more willing to admit they have zero self-control in their life.
Yeah.
That this is 100% against my nature. I have to go with it. This is what being a man is.
Yeah.
They're more willing to let you know they have zero control over their own behavior and blame you than, not attacking people.
Yeah. Like, look, I'll admit to this. You can't help how you feel. Like, your body, whatever's triggering you in that moment, like if you're attracted to someone, or it's just like driving you mad, that's something you can't help. That's pure
Your
biology,
level of attraction, right?
chemistry, just all these chemicals doing its thing to make you feel that way. The self-control part could also be attributed to that as well. The fact that you can't handle it. But if that is something that you know that you can't handle, then you need to get the fuck out.
Yeah, you need to not be putting yourself in those situations at all. Yeah.
You need to say, I need to excuse myself. I need to go as far away from here as possible because I know I cannot control myself. Therefore, you are making a conscious effort to remove yourself from the conflict that you know is going to occur. Mm-hmm. That is something you do have control over, is to leave. Mm-hmm. So, don't give me that mess.
No, I mean, I've never bought into it. I've just realized that that's, for whatever reason, became an acceptable excuse.
No.
That just, for some reason, worked for them every time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
As we've deviated
as
from
we
games
do.
again.
Now, I want to do one. Well, at least we're doing it at the end, so if they don't want to stick
That's
around
true.
for the rest of
They
it.
could have left, yes.
Yeah, because I didn't come up with any game-related thing. I'm sorry, people. Somebody want to write this crap for me? I'm tired right now. No, one last thing I didn't get to talk about, or I forgot about during our break, and during the time I was sick, I watched a movie, and I wanted to kind of throw it out there. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it here, but I thought, oh man, I wouldn't recommend, you have to go rent this movie now. But if you happen to see it on, I would almost bet it'll be on Showtime because the company that distributed is A24, and I noticed a lot of their movies are on Showtime.
Okay.
It's called Lamb. Have you seen a trailer to this?
I don't know. I tend to start my Showtime show and walk away because they always force that ad and you can't skip it. So I might have walked away or did something while I waited for a minute.
All right. Well, this is I don't want to say the wrong. It's a foreign language film.
Okay.
Like I don't know why I want to say Norwegia, but kind of that. What do you call them? The
With subtitles?
Yeah. Well, they. I don't know the language. I don't know where they're at, but they're in one of those.
Oh, you're trying to think of the language.
Blorky, florky countries or whatever. Sweden. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. I know that was probably offensive. I apologize.
Probably.
To all these
we'll hear about it.
Swedish
and then
listeners we have. I could be wrong. But anyway, it's within that country. Within the areas, that part of the world, the European
Norway,
country.
Sweden, whatever, in that little area.
Yeah, so they're speaking
There's a third country
the language in which is common within this mountainy area of Europe. But the story is about, and if you've seen a trailer, you can kind of get a hint of it. But this is why I want to kind of throw it out there. So the basic idea is that a couple out who work on this farm or live on this farm or whatever, they farm goats or sheep, I should say. Mm-hmm. And then one of the sheep give birth to a human lamb hybrid. It's pretty much like a kid with a lamb head. I'll just put it like that because that's about the gist of what you get.
All right.
Okay, bizarre, right?
Right.
And if you watch the trailer, you get this sense like it's going to be this, weird, dark horror film.
Monsterish, kind of like a monster movie.
But I don't feel like they sold the movie properly. I'm not saying it was bad, but it was not going down the road that I thought it was going to be.
The expectations they set up were different.
Because
maybe it was intentional.
It could have been. But I got in there and the ending is one of those endings. Again, I'll try to keep it very I don't want to spoil anything.
Non-spoilery.
But I feel like it's one of those endings, and I'm really not trying to say this to turn anybody away, but it's one of those endings that it's one of those love it or hate it kind of things. Because you'll always have that audience. It's like, well, that was just the stupidest damn thing I ever saw. And it's like, and then the other side of it's like, no, you're not paying attention. You're not understanding what just happened or what this is trying to imply or what the message was, why they ended it there. It's got one of those endings. You're either going to be like, well, that was just stupid or, I really get it. I get it.
Okay.
It took me a second. Like, I didn't think it was stupid. I was like taken aback as to how it ended. Like, it felt abrupt in a sense. But I took the time to ponder it, and I was like, so what was this supposed to be, or what was this supposed to mean? Mm-hmm. It might be open to interpretation, but I think I understand what the idea behind it was. So I was like, okay.
The lesson we were trying to learn or whatever. Yeah.
I thought it was a great movie. It will not be for everybody. Like, I'm excited to, because I watched it without Katrina here, and I wanted her to watch it. And I'm excited to show it to her because she has this aversion. And again, this could be considered spoilery.
To baby sheep dressed like people? Because I have an aversion to that, I think, as well. I didn't know until now.
But the sheep and the kids, I get it. There's two things she likes. So immediately in this thing that...
she likes babies and sheep.
Yeah.
This is right up her alley.
Right. So it's like, well, what if you got a hybrid thing? But obviously when horror and children are involved, her first question is, does the kid die? The kid's going to die. Something like that. So I could say with confidence, if that is also a concern of yours, no children die.
No children.
There is a reference.
Maybe hybrid children. I noticed the avoiding of the word hybrid.
The baby's fine. Okay? I can't speak to everybody, but I'm saying the baby, fine.
Okay.
I
Maybe
will
fine.
say, if this is also tricky subject matter for some people, so if you're a little, they don't dwell on it, but you get the understanding that there was a loss between the parents.
So there could be a little bit of a trigger.
So yeah,
warning
so
there.
just aware of that. But again, it makes you understand why they embrace this child, because it's like, oh, our baby.
Love it regardless.
Yeah. So
It is my baby. Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
so just
I don't know if that sounds like one that I'm interested in at
No,
all,
I mean,
but
it's a slow-
definitely different.
it's a slow burn movie.
Most horror is, though, if we're honest.
But good, keep you engaged, and there's so much going on in this in a way that you're just like, because I'll admit, I watched the little girl. She's a girl, but just so you're aware, it's not a spoiler. Doesn't matter.
No.
But no, anytime she would run away from her parents or like go off on her own or something like that, I'm just looking to say, please be safe, because she's so cute, you know. And you don't.
I don't know. I'm looking at a picture of it now, and I don't know. I'm weirded out by the whole thing.
And she breathes.
Does it talk like a kid?
They never have her speak, but she makes noises like she'd be like, and it sounds like a little girl, so it doesn't sound like a sheep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a movie
Yeah.
that was made, and we can watch it.
Maybe next time we have our summer vacation, that'll be another one I whip on you and be like, hey,
the one we have
there
to
you go.
watch. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, last one, and then I'm done. No, something I watched yesterday, which I would recommend, but again, gotta have one of those streaming services.
Gotta pay money.
You might actually be able to find it on like Amazon or something like that if it's something you are interested in. I watched a documentary on Shudder about Boris Karloff, and
I noticed some of those movies were put on
Yeah.
Shudder over the last several weeks. Some of those older ones, yeah.
yeah, so that was a very entertaining. If you're into documentaries,
The
especially-
documentary was?
yeah,
Okay.
because they're talking about his early careers, a lot of the movies back then that he got stuck in that doesn't fly today.
Very typecast,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Like he did the Mask of Fu Manchu, and sure you could immediately think of the racial problems.
I
with
think
that
if you're
movie.
going to sit down to watch any movie from 87 or earlier, just kind of have the mindset that it's probably going to have something you're not going to want to hear in it.
Yeah.
And it was acceptable at the time for whatever reason.
And you know what? That was at least something that they acknowledged. Like in the documentary, they didn't like go on this big thing like Boris Karloff was a racist. Because he was an actor, and they said, well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to play this character, and he's like, okay.
Well, let's think about what year?
In the 30s, yeah.
Okay, when segregation was still happening, right?
Yeah.
Not saying we're right. I'm just saying that's why you wouldn't see them on set.
Right.
They weren't allowed.
Yeah.
Isn't that effed up? They just straight up weren't allowed.
I mean, you think about the actor. There are multiple actors, at least two that I'm aware of, that have this name. But so this is not the same guy. If you know the name, you're like, oh yeah. But an actor by the name of Victor Wong was essentially one of the earliest Asian actors to be featured in a movie.
okay. Yeah.
Like he was in King Kong, 1933, and typically when they found an actor like him, that was the go-to guy. It was like,
If you needed this.
yeah, it's like you need an Asian person. Well, here's I got a guy. It's like,
and honestly, probably for any of them.
yeah, there's like
it wouldn't have
Japanese,
mattered which. Yeah. Japanese,
Chinese, Korean,
whatever.
whatever.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't matter. They all look the same, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't say that. That was the studio head. People.
No,
come
I'm
on.
sure that's exactly the conversation that was had.
But despite that, that's not what the documentary was about. It's about his, how did he get started in film, his childhood. The name Boris Karloff is not his stage name, if you didn't know
I
that.
figured, but yeah.
I don't know. Is it like I'm a huge. I won't say that I grew up with the Universal monsters going like, oh yeah. It was just like one of those things that one day I was just like, you know what? I've never watched those, and I want to watch these movies because you always hear about them, and these are like the original monsters. And I've got the whole set now. Like every monster movie ever made from Universal within that time period, I've got.
Yeah.
Because it was like it's fascinating to me. I know some people can't watch them, but I love it. And just seeing the differences and things. And he was always the one that I think I gravitated towards the most. And maybe I just like tragic figure characters like that. But out of all the monsters, he's, I think, the one that I would consider my favorite. And Boris Karloff makes the character so much more, I don't know, it's just, he's so good in the role.
Well, it's such a different style and everything, too. So it would probably be considered a niche thing these days, right? For people to like those older films.
Yeah. But
the style of everything was just so much different.
Sure. But in any case, if it's something that interests you, go definitely check that out. It was a great documentary. Probably about 90 minutes, give or take.
Okay, that's good.
It's not like super long.
That's about my sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. It's a fascinating documentary about the man and his going from being Frankenstein's monster to the Grinch, and even his last days on the screen. So I don't know. It was lovely.
Check that out, baby.
I
I was flipping through Shudder the other day. I was like, you know what? I forgot. I haven't checked it in a while. There's got to be something new. And all the recently added seem to be a lot of those older monster movies, and interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had seen a lot of them. So who knows? I might go back and just kind of watch some of them because
Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein they're
I don't
great.
know if I've seen the OG ones. Yeah, I might have to go back and see.
Yeah, like I think you will be amazed how good they are and how much they hold up.
I mean, honestly, I loved Nosferatu, just the silent one.
Yeah.
Just for the style of everything. Then it's just kind of fascinating to see how acting has evolved.
Yeah. And that's the best lens to look at it. When I look at those movies like that, and it's like, "Hey, boy, what are you doing here?" "Oh, I'm going over here." We gotta go.
Why we thought that's how people talk?
Yeah, but that's just what it was. So
it was.
You see that evolution over time, like every decade. If you watch these movies, you see like this. Things are changing. Things like we're getting a little bit more subtle in how we approach things. So not everybody's going like this. See, we gotta go stop that monster up there.
Right? Right? Yeah. No, it's fascinating. I love it.
Yeah.
Go check them out if you want to see how it's changed a lot. And then,
Oh, I'm so excited. Like Shudder, I know this is like way off, but hey, go get Shudder if you like horror movies and such.
right? Yeah.
The only way I had to watch it out in the living room is on the Fire compatible thing.
Fire Stick.
Because that's all it was. Yesterday I decided, I was like, I wonder if my TV, because I've always, that's what I primarily use for all my apps, is the smart TV. So I decided to go look for it again because, I've looked for it on there before. Bam, there it was. I was like, yes, I will start watching Shudder even more now.
Yeah.
Because now I don't have to do this transition thing.
See, we did it wrong. I bought it through Prime, I think. So I don't get all the live stuff. So when I see you talking about, live tweeting about with The Last Drive-In and all of them, I can watch it the next day, but it's not on for me live in the moment. So, oh, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, well,
I don't know that I would remember to sit down every night at 9 p.m. anyway, or whatever time it comes on, 10, 9, 8, I don't know.
8.
Late. 8.
Yeah, I mean, I wish other people
I got nothing
knew
more to
would.
say about it. I'm like, I just can't see them.
I mean,
Show up there.
it's a good community out there. I know we're getting way
Seems
off
like
topic.
it.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway,
Hey,
we've stopped talking about games a long time ago. So if you're still with us, thanks.
Yeah, thank
siblings.
you. I mean, we can go ahead
That's
and
our show.
wrap up the show. Yeah, I got nothing. Maybe next week I'll have a headliner. I'll work on something. I'm sorry, people. I'm still
We've had
trying
a rough year going into it,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
I'm having trouble kind of focusing. I got to get back into a rhythm. Everything's
Gotta
changed
get
at
you back
work.
in.
Everything's been hard since the years began, so I'm trying to get my rhythm back.
Right. I feel ya. We'll get there. Bear with us.
But anyway,
Always a whip,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's our show. Don't forget, you can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash. You can send an email to supermegacrash@gmail.com. You can go over to Instagram to view the weekly icon art Steven puts his time and love into. Or you can support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred platform, and even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. You can search Pencil and Paper Productions or just Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and even over to youtube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Lacey Finley.
And I'm Stephen White.
And you could join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But, until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.